On the morning of July 18, 2014, a quiet residential street in Tallahassee, Florida, became the center of a crime that would ripple far beyond city limits. A man sat in his car, parked in his own driveway. Within moments, gunshots shattered the stillness. By the time neighbors realized what had happened, a respected law professor lay mortally wounded. Daniel Markel was 41 years old. He was a father of two, and his killing would expose a case not of chaos or chance, but of planning, proximity, and betrayal. This is the story of how a brilliant legal mind was silenced, and how justice took nearly a decade to catch up. Daniel Markel was widely regarded as one of the brightest legal scholars of his generation. A professor at Florida State University College of Law, Markel specialized in criminal law and sentencing theory. His work was cited nationally. He published extensively. Students described him as demanding but deeply engaged, someone who believed law was not abstract but moral. Colleagues recall a man driven by intellect and principle, fiercely committed to fairness and accountability. Outside the classroom, Markel was a devoted father to two young sons. His personal life, however, had grown increasingly strained. By 2011, his marriage had ended in a bitter divorce. What followed was a prolonged and deeply contentious custody dispute. Court filings revealed disagreements over parenting, relocation, and control, conflicts that played out not just privately, but through legal channels. The children lived in Tallahassee with Markel. Their mother and her family resided in South Florida, hundreds of miles away. The geographic distance became more than logistical. It became central. Friends later told investigators that Markel feared for his safety. He documented concerns, saved emails, and confided in others that tensions had escalated beyond ordinary divorce conflict. Those concerns at the time remained unproven, but they were not unfounded. On the morning of July 18, 2014, Daniel Markel dropped his children off at preschool. He returned to his home in the Benton Hills neighborhood shortly before noon. As he parked in his driveway, a vehicle pulled alongside him. According to investigators, a gunman fired multiple shots through the driver's side window at close range. Markel was struck in the head. The shooter fled immediately. Neighbors heard the gunfire and called 911. First responders found Markel still alive, but gravely injured. He was transported to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, where he remained on life support. 9 days later, Daniel Markel died from his injuries. There was no robbery, no random intrusion, nothing taken. From the beginning, investigators believed this was a targeted killing. The investigation. The Tallahassee Police Department launched a homicide investigation that would grow increasingly complex. Detectives canvassed the neighborhood, collected shell casings, and reviewed surveillance footage from nearby businesses. One camera captured a suspicious vehicle traveling through the area around the time of the shooting. The car, a silver Prius, would become central to the case. Rental records showed the vehicle had been rented in South Florida and driven north in the days before the murder. Inside the car, investigators later recovered DNA and a partial fingerprint. Cell phone records revealed a pattern. Two men had traveled together from South Florida to Tallahassee. They turned their phones off during the window of the murder and reactivated them shortly afterward while heading south. The suspects were not locals. They were not connected to Markel personally, but they were connected to someone who was. As investigators followed the digital trail, phone pings, text messages, financial transactions, a theory began to form. This was a murder for hire, but proving who ordered the killing would take years. Suspects, arrests, and legal proceedings. In 2016, 2 men were arrested and charged with first-degree murder, the alleged shooter and the alleged intermediary. Prosecutors presented evidence of travel records, phone data, and financial transfers. One of the accused later accepted a plea deal, agreeing to testify against others in exchange for a reduced sentence. That testimony expanded the scope of the case. Investigators alleged that the murder had been orchestrated by individuals close to Markel's former spouse, motivated, prosecutors argued, by the ongoing custody battle and a desire to permanently resolve it. Over the next several years, additional arrests followed. Trials unfolded slowly, methodically. Prosecutors laid out timelines, payment structures, and communication records. Defense attorneys challenged credibility, argued coincidence, and questioned the reliability of cooperating witnesses. In 2019, a jury returned a guilty verdict against one of the accused conspirators. More convictions followed in subsequent trials. In 2023, after nearly 9 years, the final defendant was convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy. The sentence, life in prison. The case was, at last, legally complete. For Daniel Markel's parents, justice arrived too late to heal the loss, but not too late to matter. They became advocates, speaking publicly about the case and about their sons' children who would grow up without their father. The legal community reckoned with the implications of the crime, a reminder that legal disputes, when fueled by obsession and entitlement, can cross into irrevocable violence. At Florida State University, Markel's colleagues remembered him not as a victim, but as a scholar, a teacher, and a parent whose life was cut short. The children he left behind remain the case's quiet center, the human cost beyond verdicts and sentences. The murder of Daniel Markel was not spontaneous, it was not random, and it was not unsolvable. It was a crime built on proximity, resentment, and choice, unraveled through patience, persistence, and evidence. Justice, in this case, moved slowly, but it moved deliberately. And while no conviction can restore what was taken, the record now tells a complete story, one not of spectacle, but of accountability. Daniel Markel's voice was silenced, but the truth, painstakingly assembled, was not. If you're drawn to the truth behind the headlines, you're in the right place. This is CSV Crime Story Vault. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new case. If this story moved you, disturbed you, or made you think, hit like and leave a comment below. And for exclusive updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more real crime stories, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Our Crime Story Vault 25. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and keep the vault open.